Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of philosophy's most legendary and, let's be honest, most difficult books, Spinoza's Ethics. But trust me, it's worth it, because this isn't just theory. It's a 300-year-old blueprint for a life of freedom that might be more relevant right now than ever before. Okay, so let's just get it out of the way. This book is notoriously tough. As one person perfectly put it, if you go in unprepared, you're probably going to get overwhelmed and slam it shut. I mean, it's written with geometric proofs, axioms, and definitions. It looks more like a math textbook than a guide to happiness. So why even bother, right? Why has this incredibly dense book captivated some of the greatest minds in history, from Einstein to Goethe? Well, here's the secret. Hidden inside all of that rigid logic is one of the most profound and practical guides ever written for overcoming suffering and finding a real, lasting kind of joy.
So the key to the whole thing is understanding why he wrote it this way. You have to get the map before you can find the treasure. See, for Spinoza, this unique structure wasn't just him trying to be clever. He believed it was the only way to prove his ideas about how to live a truly good life.
He wrote his masterpiece, as he called it, More Geometrico. That's Latin for in the geometric style. He literally lays out his philosophy like you'd lay out a proof in geometry class. He starts with basic definitions, then axioms you have to accept, and from there, he logically proves everything else, the nature of God, the human mind, and ultimately, happiness. And yeah, that's exactly why so many people get intimidated and just put it down. But here's what you've got to remember. This isn't just some abstract mental exercise. Spinoza wasn't just showing off. He genuinely believed that this was the clearest, most bulletproof way to arrive at true understanding. And for him, true understanding was the one and only key to unlocking real freedom from the chaos of our own emotions. Okay, so this whole logical system, it all builds from one single, incredibly radical idea. This is Spinoza's map of reality itself, and pretty much everything else in the entire book flows directly from this one powerful concept. He starts with this concept he calls substance. Now try to think of it as the ultimate foundational stuff of reality, the bedrock of all existence. It's the thing that exists all on its own and doesn't need anything else to exist or to be understood. It is its own cause. And from that single definition, he makes a move that was absolutely revolutionary. He argues, logically, that there can only be one such substance. And then he gives it two names, God or nature, Deus sive natura. For him, they're the exact same thing. This isn't a God who is above nature, looking down. No, God is the entirety of nature. Now, this is a really important distinction, and it's easy to get confused. Spinoza's view is what we call pantheism. God is nature, the whole shebang. That's different from pantheism, which says that nature is part of or within God, but that God is also bigger than nature. For Spinoza, that's not it. God isn't a person or a being. God is the unchangeable, logical system of laws that governs literally everything that exists. And if you accept that one idea, that God is nature, well, the consequences are absolutely huge. It means everything that happens, from a galaxy forming to you feeling sad, is just a necessary part of that system. It means there's no guy with a beard in the sky judging you. It means miracles are impossible, because that would mean nature breaking its own rules. And here's the big one. It means everything is determined. Free will, as we usually think of it, is an illusion. So, wait a minute. If everything is determined and we don't have free will, then what's the point? Where does all our pain and suffering even come from? This question right here brings us to the core human problem that Spinoza was so obsessed with solving. Here's the problem, according to Spinoza. We are just one tiny part of this giant system of nature, and we are constantly being pushed and pulled by external causes, other people, world events, even our own bodies, that we don't really control or even understand. We suffer, fundamentally, because we're ignorant of the true causes of what's happening to us and inside of us. Spinoza has a brilliant name for these confusing, overwhelming emotional reactions. He calls them passions. And the word choice is perfect, because when you're in the grip of a passion, like rage or jealousy or crippling fear, you are passive. It's something that is happening to you. You're being acted upon by an outside force, and every time that happens, it drains your power to act and to thrive. Now, you might be thinking that Spinoza sounds like he wants us to be emotionless robots, but check out this quote. He's so not an ascetic. He believed that joy and pleasure are good things. The problem isn't enjoying life. The problem is being passively dragged around by our desires and fears. The goal is to enjoy life actively, with real understanding.
So that brings us right to Spinoza's powerful solution. Okay, we've set up the problem. We're trapped by our passions. Now he lays out a clear, logical path to get from being a passive victim of your emotions to becoming an active creator of your own peace of mind.
And here it is. This is the heart of his solution. True freedom isn't about being able to do whatever you want. Remember, that's the illusion. True freedom is about understanding why things have to be the way they are. You can't change the fact that the waves are crashing, but you can learn how to surf. The whole trick is to transform what Spinoza calls our affections. That's his general term for any emotional state. When we're clueless about its real cause, it's a passion, and we're basically its slave. But the moment we understand its true cause with total clarity, it transforms into an action, and we become its master. Okay, so here's how it works in practice. Let's say someone insults you, and you feel that hot flash of anger. That's a passion. Now, instead of just lashing out, you stop. You analyze it. You realize their insult didn't come from nowhere. It came from their own causes, their own insecurity, their own bad day. You see their action and your reaction as just another necessary event in the infinite chain of cause and effect. And once you truly understand that, the anger just loses its power. It transforms from passive suffering into active understanding. So, what's at the end of this road? If you actually do this, what's the destination? What does a life of total freedom and rational understanding actually feel like? Well, Spinoza has this beautiful and kind of surprising answer. For Spinoza, true happiness, what he calls blessedness, isn't a fleeting emotion like excitement or pleasure. It's a deep, stable, unshakable state of peace and joy, and it comes directly from one thing: understanding the logical necessity of everything in the universe. He gives this highest possible human state a very specific name: the intellectual love of God. Now, this isn't an emotional, have a chat with God kind of love. It's a profound sense of awe and love that comes from clearly and rationally grasping your own place and the place of everything else within the single perfect system of God/nature. So, in the end, happiness isn't some prize you get for being a good person. Happiness is the virtuous activity itself. It's that deep, quiet joy you feel when you finally stop fighting against reality and just understand it. It's the peace that comes from seeing the world just for a moment from the universe's point of view. Spinoza ends his entire book with these words, and I think it's just perfect. He's not sugarcoating it. He's fully admitting that this path is incredibly hard. But his point is that the very difficulty of achieving this kind of peaceful understanding is exactly what makes it so precious and so worthwhile. So Spinoza leaves us with this challenge. And it's not just some historical idea, it's a practical daily exercise. So let me ask you, what part of your life, what frustration or fear could be transformed right now if you shifted from being its passive victim to being its active, clear-eyed understander?